Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Best Kept Secrets in Healthcare show. I'm Dr. Drury, this is Dr. Hartman, and so today we decided we need to get this show out quick because a story just came out early this week about how now they've changed the definition of high blood pressure, or the requirements, or whatever the level is of high blood pressure. And there's a big article in all the major papers, USA Today, etc. And so we wanted to come and tell you the actual truth about blood pressure, the story, the secret you're not going to hear from mainstream media or from your doctor. And so we kind of threw our stuff together to throw kind of an emergency show for you because we felt like it was important we got this information out here fast. So Dr. Hartman, tell us a little bit about this story and what the numbers are and what the implications.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's definitely an emergency. This is breaking news. The original range for high blood pressure was 140, right, over 90, and now they've recently lowered it, I believe as of Tuesday, when the article came out, that it's now 130 over 80.
It's considered high.
It's considered high, or pre-hypertensive is the scientific term, right? So now what that's done is it's literally made now 46% of America, which is almost half of the American population, literally overnight, is considered to be pre-hypertensive, and that's roughly 103 million people in the United States.
So why do you think they do that, right? You know, they did the exact same thing for cholesterol years ago. They keep lowering it, and why do you think they do that?
I mean, there's only one guess, right?
It's all in the dead presidents, right? It's in the Benjamins. So why are they doing that? Because now they just up their clientele. They can go in and say, well, who is it, the CDC? Who was it that made the
American Heart Association.
American Heart Association says that, well, now you have high blood pressure. So what that means is, let me write you this little prescription and you can take these pills now for the rest of your life. This is crazy. So Dr. Hartman and I got in kind of a heat. We were kind of hollering and screaming when this came out. You believe this crap? So what it's about basically is it's about making money. The problem is the same people that are in those government positions and in the American Heart Association and all, are the same people that are selling the drugs.
Yep, absolutely.
It's crazy. So they say, hey, you know what, let's lower that a little bit. And so that'll open up to half of the American population. Now we can say need to be taking medications.
I know, it's ridiculous, and I was having a conversation with one of the patients the day after the article came out, and we were chatting as he had some high blood pressure. He was pre-hypertensive, right, before he came into this office, and then he said he saw the same article, and now that puts him into stage 2, right? Stage 2 of high blood pressure. Literally overnight, he has changed his range, right, where he falls. Now the crazy thing is, what's even scarier is he said his wife was actually just put on medication the day before. So I had to have a serious talk, and again, we'll never advise you to stop taking medication, but for something that drastic to go from you were fine this day to now the numbers changed to now you're not, it just doesn't make sense. To my mind, that's literally saying you're healthy today, nothing changed, and you're not healthy tomorrow. That's where we get really fired up, really passionate about getting this message out.
Well, you know, to me, blood pressure, everybody's different, right? We all different sizes, different shapes, different genetics, and to put everybody into a cookie cutter that says, well, here's the draw line, here's the line, anything beyond this is a problem, you need to keep it below that. For one, I think is ridiculous. For two, the Journal of Internal Medicine came out with the study, and they said that there's zero relationship in high blood pressure and increased death, that people with high blood pressure are no more likely to die prematurely than someone with normal blood pressure. So the studies are right there. There are no studies that say, you know, unless it's something that skyrockets, that's emergency, right? If it's skyrocket, if it's off the charts, you need something to bring it down, that's emergency care. But life to life, there's no study that even says high blood pressure is seriously a problem.
Right, and absolutely. And one thing that makes us great about humans is we really can't be categorized into a specific range, right? One of my favorite expressions is, you know, now it says 130 over 80 being normal. Well, the average height is around 5'9". So does that mean, you know, I'm 6 foot, you're going to cut, you know, 3 inches off the top of my head to put me in this category to now where I'm considered normal? It just doesn't make sense. You know, what else do we have, Doc? What do people do if they do have high blood pressure?
Well, so we had a study that came out a few years ago. It was actually one of the very few studies that we've done as upper cervical doctors that have actually been in the media. It was short term in the on Good Morning America, but there was a study done with Chicago Medical School and an upper cervical doctor on blood pressure. And what they found at the end of 6 weeks that the average patient under upper cervical care, their blood pressure dropped 14 points.
Wow.
Now, 14 points is huge. Now, the reason it is because that's equivalent to taking $2 billion drugs. That's 2 drugs, both worth $1 billion a year. Now, that's another good point why it didn't last long in mainstream media.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean,
that's true.
if you're competing with $2 billion drugs, that's $2 billion a year in competition, then that's something that they don't really want out there, right? And because 80% of all media is paid for by the pharmaceutical industry, you can imagine why that got kind of brushed under the rug pretty quickly. But if you think about it, being under upper cervical care for 6 weeks, cut blood pressure by 14 points, the equivalent of taking 2 medications, 0 side effects. 0 side effects. And on top of that, a study came out in the Journal for Human Hypertension. I jotted this down. And they found a direct relationship between atlas, that's the first bone in the neck, misalignment, and blood pressure. When atlas is misaligned, you have a greater chance of having higher blood pressure. What does that mean? That means your head's not on straight. What does that mean? That means you need to be checked to get your head on straight and not have to go down, not follow through this cookie cutter, you fit in this direction, you need these medications.
Absolutely. You know, and really we harp so much on the importance of the brainstem. That's where all autonomic function really occurs. You know, respiration, heart rate, obviously blood pressure is a result in that. So make sure that there is no pressure at that area, right? That's what we do.
Well, and it makes sense that all the blood that goes from the body pushes up to the brain to feed the brain. Has to go up through those upper 2 bones of the neck. That's how it gets into the brain. Now, if one of the bones is misaligned here, it can actually interfere with the blood flow to the brain. So what's your body's inclination? What's your brain saying, hey, I need more blood? Well, if it's not getting enough blood, what's the only way to push more blood through a smaller opening? Up your pressure.
Right.
So your brain is controlling the blood pressure. And so if there's a misalignment and it's interfering with blood flow to the brain, then if we can open that up, get literally your head on straight, that'll open the openings, allow free flow of blood to the brain. Blood pressure has a tendency to lower itself.
And you know, a lot of the times, really the science that we're doing or these new studies that are coming up are really just helping prove what we already know, really just proving common sense. You can imagine a kinked off area, you know, having that blood pressure, that blood flow, that nerve flow, it's going to increase the pressure, right? So make sure you get yourself checked. Dr. Drury, where can people go from here?
Well, so if you're in the Charlotte area, give our office a call, the Upper Cervical Spine Center. You can go to our website if you want to learn more information, uppercervicalspinecenter.com. If you're not in this area, then do yourself a favor. Go find an upper cervical doctor near you. I think the easiest way is probably to Google it. If you can't find one in your area, give our office a call. We'll do our best to locate one for you. This is ridiculous. This whole cycle of, hey, let's lower the recommendations so that we can get more people buying drugs is not helping anybody. If you look at the disease rates and the sickness rates in the United States, they're getting worse and worse and worse. Quality of care is getting worse and worse and worse because more people are taking more and more medications. It's an inverse proportion. It doesn't work.
Doesn't make sense.
So thank you for joining us on this episode. If you like what you hear, please share it with other people. Subscribe to our channel. We're going to do every week when we see stuff like this, we're going to come out. We're going to call them out. We're not going to let them come in and bluff you into scare tactics to make you think that you need to take their medications when there's maybe a really good chance you may not. So stay tuned for the next episode of our show and get your head on straight.